unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Shout out to David Benavidez. He finally responds to Canelo. Baby, you want baby? I know that. Versus Edgar Berlanga. In a brand new interview with the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Icy, Ego's Army. He sent it to me on X. And David Benavidez, I'm just going to paraphrase, but the man said Canelo versus Berlanga is a trash ass fight. And I feel like we all feel like David Benavidez right about now. Like a funk soul brother. Check it out now. Trash fight. Another question he was asked was, how come he didn't activate his mandatory? And basically he says that there's weird stuff going on. Why should he have to activate his mandatory? He's been the mandatory for 3 years. And basically Canelo don't want to fight him, which I agree. Say what you want. Shout out to Benavidez. Again, I think we all feel like Benavidez right about now. Now, I'm going to be real. Edgar Berlanga, he didn't really do anything wrong per se. I want to state that because he has been catching a lot of strays. And as a fighter, I know that doesn't feel good, but it's really not his fault. So I think a lot of the hatred towards the fight or the negative energy towards the fight, I don't really think it's him per se. It's more heat on Canelo Alvarez. Like David Benavidez says, Canelo continues to show that he does not want to fight the top names. Now, I know what the Canelo Chupapi Muñeños, the Cinnabons, the Canelo Baby man fans are going to say. They're going to say, but oh, Canelo has a good resume. He does when you look at it in its totality. But this is the game that Canelo likes to play. Canelo likes to, and I've used this example before, but he likes to pick around his plate. He wants to eat the steak. He wants to eat the mashed potatoes, but he doesn't want the asparagus. He doesn't want the veggies. You know, he wants to eat around it, and he wants his dessert, you know, and I think Canelo is prima donna. He's big-headed. Canelo Alvarez feels, yo, I took sacrifices early in my career, so therefore, as a sportsman, I've already made my mark. Now let's line my pockets, take some nice vacations with the family, and if he can limit it to the 2 losses on his record, then that's what he'll do. And that's what he prefers to do. Like, he doesn't want more losses. I mean, no fighter wants a loss. However, there is a lot of fighters who are taking risks that if they're not great or good on that given night, then they could have a loss. Canelo is strategically moving around. And I've said this for years. I've said and coined these phrases like advanced cherry pick. The Sergey Kovalev fight was an advanced cherry pick. And some people got mad. What do you mean Kovalev is dangerous? Kovalev got his soul taken, David Goggins style, stay hard, from Andre Ward. I know because I was there at the fights live. And I truly believe Andre Ward, he removed that whole aura of the crusher. He was never the crusher after the Andre Ward fights. First fight, competitive. Ward won close. Second fight, he got toyed with. Ward made proper adjustments and stopped him. And Kovalev, I don't think he was even, I remember post-fight, Kovalev was getting booed because he wouldn't accept the loss like a man. He was making excuses, saying that, you know, he got low blowed or whatever he was saying. I don't even remember at this point. But I remember we were all like just watching Kovalev on the podium, and he was making excuses. He didn't want to give Ward credit, and it is what it is. But Ward took something from that man, and some fights are like that. And not only that, he lost to Eliter Alvarez. Then he avenged it by boxing. Then he had a very tough fight with Anthony Yard, and he almost got knocked out in the fight, but then he kept it. Like, it was to the point where his coach, Buddy McGirt, said, hey, if you give me another round like that, I'm pulling the plug on the fight. And then, you know, he got it together, and after almost getting stopped, he ended up stopping really an inexperienced Anthony Yard, right? I think he stopped him with a jab. That's when Canelo chooses to fight him. You see, that's why I always told you what it was, and it pays to keep it real on the channel. That's one thing for all the aspiring digital creators and stuff, and all the people I've inspired being the best in the business, and it's not even close. That's one thing. If I can give you some game and a gym and impart something, it's just to always be yourself, always keep it real, and just be truthful. You'll last longer. It's just like being a boxer. Like Floyd said, the least punishment you take, the longer you'll last in the sport of boxing. Hard work, dedication. The more truthful you are in this sport, the more dividends it'll pay later. And I've been telling you guys about Canelo Alvarez, and the world finally caught up to what Boxing Ego has been saying, because I was called all types of names. I was outcasted. I was kicked on, spit on, left for dead, distant, forgotten, luck ran out, right? All these things when I was saying it, because I say stuff, I don't care who's mad. I don't go out to try to make people mad, but I will speak my mind on my channel that I started from the ground up with no help, with nobody pushing me. When I started YouTube, there was nobody pushing, say, oh, Ego, do a video. Oh, Ego, stay up these sleepless nights and put out the content when you're tired. There was nobody doing that. Therefore, I've earned my spot. Whether people, you know, YouTubers get a bad rap and stuff, but they ain't put the work in like me. So I've earned my spot and solidified myself over the years so I can say what I need to say. And if you don't like it, change the station. But the world is now caught up. David Benavidez telling you what I've been telling you about Canelo. He don't really want to fight the top name. Benavidez would be, in my opinion, the biggest fight in boxing. He's fighting Berlanga. Before that, you know, it could be Jaime Munguia. Before that, John Riders and Yildirim's and Eardrums and these random people. Nobody's really asking for any of these fights, and you guys got to ask. Even when he fought Golovkin,
hey, no, guys, hey, Max is not his punch. Hey, guys, his punch is not tick, not.
Right? When you fought Golovkin the third time, who wanted that fight? DAZN wanted to fight when y'all both first signed to DAZN. Canelo waited because he thought he was going to knock out Golovkin, and he still couldn't do that to a 41-year-old.
Hell no, guys, hey, Max is...
Right? You still couldn't knock him out. So we see what Canelo's doing. Canelo, like I said, is a scavenger. Canelo is a vulture, and he's picking on the weak. And I'm not saying it like trying to diss Munguia or diss Berlanga, because they didn't really do anything wrong. But when I say weak, I'm talking about the overall, they're not the biggest threats. Like, they're inexperienced. Like, you could argue that David Morrell is inexperienced because he only has a few fights, but he seems more advanced. So even a fight like that wouldn't get this type of poor feedback. Berlanga was with Top Rank. They built him as a first round knockout artist. They put him on the Wilder Fury rematch card, and he got dropped by a guy that Billy Joe Saunders knocked out, right? And didn't look good in that fight with Corceras. And then after he left Top Rank, it's like his career's kind of been forgotten about. He's been fighting Irishmen. A magically delicious lot of me and MacArthur bark and a bark and a, you know what I mean? And he hasn't really fought no one. And these lame Canelo man fans, they will say the darndest things. They'll say Andre. They'll say Charlo, Jermell, not Jamel, but Jamal. They'll say Benavidez. All these guys haven't earned a Canelo shot. But then Canelo's just throwing out shots like Skittles to all these other guys that are definitely undeserving, even more so than if you would have fought Benavidez at 68, if you would have fought Andrade at 54 or 60, or Big Charlo at 60 or 54, right? So the jig is up. People see what Canelo's doing. I've already made videos about it. The UFC, they're not even waiting anymore. That's how trash, like Benavidez is saying. He said it's a trash ass fight, and that's showing that the respect level is not there for Canelo's decision making, because nobody's waiting anymore. Before, you'd be like, oh, I can't step on Canelo's toes. It's a Canelo day. But now, when he's doing these picks, or more recent, because I remember UFC had the BMF fight in New York the same day as Canelo Kovalev. So even back then they were kind of inching towards this, but now they're doing in the same city. Living just enough for the city. Right? They're doing it in the same city. They're doing it in Vegas at the Sphere, backed by Turkey Al-Sheikh, and he's saying, oh, we're gonna eat Canelo alive with our event. You know what I'm saying? So people aren't respecting it the same, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Canelo keeps putting himself in his position for the criticism. So don't be surprised when Benavidez and others state their piece. And I feel great, because it's not that I just want to be right, but it does feel good when you've been stating the right message and trying to make people understand, and they didn't see it, and then finally they're forced to see it. It does feel good. But I would actually prefer it didn't play out like this, because I'm a selfless person. I'm not selfish. So Canelo doing the right thing is better for my sport, the sport of boxing. So I actually would prefer if Canelo proved me wrong. I just know he wasn't going to by fighting Benavidez. But in my heart of all hearts, I actually prefer it that way, because if Canelo proved me wrong, then I truly think I would rather ego be wrong, and then the sport of boxing grows with a bigger and better fight like Canelo Benavidez, then, oh, I'm right, but we're robbed as fans of a fight that needs to happen. And you can't knock Benavidez. I know the Canelo man fans, they're trying to twist it. They're like, oh, why didn't Benavidez trigger his mandatory? Listen, Canelo, you guys say it all the time. He's the A side. Some people saying he's the face of boxing. He can do whatever he wants. So if you felt this way, then you know he's in the position to make these fights. With Benavidez, you're working with the same people. You'd rather fight DAZN fighters. Just put this in your pipe and smoke it. You would rather work with DAZN fighters, one of which was working with your nemesis, Oscar De La Hoya, and former promoter, rather than do an easy in-house fight with David Benavidez. And you have the power to pull these strings. I know for a fact PBC would love a Canelo Benavidez fight, but Canelo's playing hardball. He's using his past accolades and his drawing power or whatever to, fight the fights that he wants and try to find this middle ground, instead of just doing what's right, which is to fight Benavidez, win, lose, or draw. You'll get respect and you'll put on what's greater for boxing. But Canelo's not about that life. So now he's getting the criticism, and it's been building. And one thing I know about boxing is you don't want to lose the public. You really don't. People will defend you, but then it gets to a point where it almost becomes indefensible. And Canelo has done that. Like, it's been a long, arduous process where little by little, I think he's losing the public. And me, I seen it, I called it a mile away, because I'm keen and I'm boxing ego. The best to ever do it, the best in the business, and it's not even close. A lot of people didn't see it. I told you to see it, and now I think we are seeing it. But it's been a long, drawn out process, but little by little, it's like cracks in the windshield, and it starts to spider web. You know, so this windshield crack is this big. The heat causes the windshield to expand. It starts to spider web and expand. And before you know it, your crack is this big. And if you keep having that windshield crack and don't pay the couple $100s to have your windshield replaced, eventually you're going to be on the freeway and another rock or something's going to hit it and hit it right in that vulnerable spot. Boom. Glass everywhere. It's going to shatter on you. And that's how public perception works as well. You know, and I think Ryan Garcia is doing a great job of shattering his public perception. Like, some of the things he was doing, maybe people found it funny, but then he just keeps on with it, keeps saying and trying to push the envelope, and then you're losing people at this point. You know, you beat Devin Haney, that was cool. Then you tested positive. You know, that was a bad look for your career. You said, oh, it wasn't me. But then now you keep saying stuff and going on these rants, and you're just losing people along the way. Some people don't know when to quit. And I think that's the case. And some people got to learn the hard way. So now people are talking about boycotting Ryan Garcia, boycotting Canelo Alvarez, just because they don't seem to want to do what the public is asking. And that's a bad position to be in, because the public kind of controls your fate when you're a celebrity. If you're an actor or a movie producer like Harvey Weinstein, and the public thinks you're a disgusting person, they don't have to support your movies. Or like you're James Franco, and then there's stories come out. When's the last movie that you heard of James Franco in that was a blockbuster? You know, before he was in Planet of the Apes and stuff, but then when he started catching cases and stories start coming out, now people are saying, oh, I don't want to work with him. I don't want to attach my name to him. And that's how it goes. And you've seen that, like I said, James Franco, Harvey Weinstein, you know, Bill Cosby, whoever.
Would like to talk to you and Canelo about the duck and Benavidez and the pudding. You see Benavidez gonna whoop him with the jello and the pudding, cause Canelo's scared. You see,
bro. Shout out to Bill Cosby. Canelo, he want no smoke with David Benavidez. And I truly think he's losing the public as a result. Told you. We unpack.